Picture this. It's early morning. The alarm blares and you're lying in bed, contemplating whether to hit that snooze button or drag yourself to the gym. And suddenly, a big red stop sign pops up in your mind, urging you to abandon all thoughts of exercise and dive right under the cozy covers. Sound familiar? Well, fret not, because in today's Thin Thinking episode, we're diving deep into the realm of mental resistance and exploring effective strategies to conquer that internal battle and establish a consistent exercise routine. We're going to uncover the secrets to silence that inner voice that says, ugh, and replace it with a resounding, let's go. From motivational techniques to fabulous advice, I will provide you with the mental tools you need to push through those mental barriers and get moving towards your fitness goals. So, whether you are a long-time exercise avoider or just looking for that extra push to stay on track, this episode is for you. So, grab those gym shoes and come on in. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym? 80% of our weight struggle is mental. That's right. The key to unlocking long-term weight release and management begins in your mind. Hi there, I'm Rita Black. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, weight loss expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast, where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Hello, come on in and please get cozy. Let's just take a deep breath and be present, right? Be present in the moment. How often do we do that during our day? I hope you're doing it often, but chances are we can't do it enough. So I want to thank you. I want to start off right by just saying thank you, Thin Thinking audience. I love you. And we are so excited to announce that Thin Thinking has landed in the top 2% of all podcasts globally. Isn't that exciting? I was pretty excited to discover that. So I want to thank our community for supporting us and sharing the word. And so, yay. Thank you. And please, we want a review. We would love for you to review us. Review us gets us seen, gets us heard, helps the algorithm, all that stuff, you know. You know what it's like in this world. You gotta stir the pot. So please just send us some love in a review, and we will give you some love back in the form of a free weight loss hypnosis download. And also, you will be entered into a drawing for my upcoming new program, or new collection, I should say, of hypnosis, meditations, and coachings called Shift Out of Emotional Eating. It's all about getting out of that emotional eating zone and getting into healthy eating, mindfully showing up for yourself. So I hope you're psyched. I hope you're excited. I am, and that's going to be dropping in July. But here we are, at least if you're listening to this, we are now in the June of 2023. So that gives you a little time, but there is no time like the present to go. What you need to do is write the review in your podcast platform, meaning whatever podcast platform you're listening to, and go ahead, write that review, take a screenshot of it, and send it to me, and we will send the coupon code for the free download your way, and your name will be entered into our drawing. So, excitement. Now, this coming episode, many of you have written in and said, hey, Rita, I need some help getting motivated to exercise. Well, you asked for it and you got it. Today is all things exercise and how to use your mind to motivate you to get you moving. And for those of you who want some really, really deep dive desires to exercise, there is a link in the show notes to my exercise downloads, and it's a 3-pack. It's wake up and exercise, so it's a meditation session that will get you out of bed in the morning. Even if you hit the snooze, this is going to get you motivated to wake up in the morning. There's another one called the Desire to Exercise. So it's just a nice hypnosis session that really drives in the deep desire to move, to exercise. And then there's what I like to call a car hypnosis session where you can actually listen to it in a car. It's more like a cognitive coaching session, but that's all about. So you can listen to it in the car on your way home, or you can listen to it at home. It's not exclusively for a car. You can listen to it on the bus or the train, but it's really about coming home and exercising. So it's about living your day, having a long day, and it's so hard to come home after a long day and exercise. So this session is really designed to get you moving and doing that. So that is all available through a link. And today, and if you are listening to this podcast, there is a coupon code exercise that will get you $5 off that 3-pack download. All right. And also the link to my email address, if you want to write a review, is in the show notes. All right. Enough of me and all this chatter. Let's get our shoes on and let's go exercise. Let me start getting you in the mood. If you haven't exercised for a while, getting moving again can be a challenge. So I want to talk to you guys about that. If you are finding yourself stuck, wanting to get moving, or maybe you're doing some exercise, but it's not so consistent, I wanted to spend today just giving you some thin thinking tips and tricks to get yourself moving again and exercising more consistently and really communicating more powerfully with yourself in the area of exercise. Here is the thing about weight mastery and exercise with regards to research and people who have taken weight off and kept it off permanently. If you look at studies of people who have been consistently keeping their weight off long term, in these studies, these people are exercising 5 to 6 days a week, to not to take the weight off, but to maintain their weight. And there's many, many reasons for this. One of them being that as you release weight, obviously you become smaller. So the amount of calories that you're burning on a daily basis decreases as you become, smaller, thinner, less, as you weigh less. And so in order to match that, as far as energy is concerned, is in order to, be able to eat in a way that you like and love, many people then start to leverage the power of exercise to create more energy burn on a daily basis. Also, studies are showing now, and I don't know if you read these studies like from a while ago with The Biggest Loser, with these people who have had these really big weight releases, that if you compare somebody who, let's say, is 150 pounds, 5'7", and has never had a weight struggle, compared with somebody who was once 200 pounds and then has lost weight and now is 150 pounds and 5'7", chances are that person who has been on that weight loss journey, their metabolism is going to be lower than the person who never struggled with their weight at the same weight, if that makes sense to you. So this is why people who have taken weight off, and a lot of that, the reason for that, I think these studies get into, it's genetics, it's just what the body does in compensation. And I don't think they have all the answers for that, but they're just seeing this more and more. And I don't know if this is the first time you've listened to me, but I am somebody who tracks people's metabolisms. If they're a client of mine, they come in, I have a machine that, and I've watched metabolisms over weight loss journeys. And I've seen that to be true to a certain degree. So I really think that these studies, and there is a lot of evidence that these people who are keeping weight off long term have really made it a part of their lifestyle to exercise almost every day on a daily basis. Now, there's many values other than just weight management that exercise brings that does play into long-term permanent weight management. Exercise absolutely regulates your hormones, helps you build neurotransmitters like serotonin, oxytocin that really help you feel good so that you're managing stress a lot better. And a lot of us who struggle with weight are stress eaters. So obviously that's going to be a bonus. Exercise also helps you problem solve. And I think a lot of times we eat our problems, and they have also shown that there is a hormone emitted in the state of exercise that is the best state of mind when you're exercising to solve problems. And I absolutely know this to be true. You know, I will get on a treadmill or the elliptical or a bike, and I will go to a spin class, and I will say, okay, what's the problem I'm going to solve during the spin class? Now I can be listening to the instructor or on a bike, listening to the instructor and spinning my heart out, but my subconscious mind can also solve problems at the same time, and I'll get epiphanies. And maybe you've had this experience when you've gone out walking or running or even walking on the beach. These epiphanies come to you when you're exercising. So I think it's a really great state to problem solve in. And again, I think that leads to weight maintenance and management because instead of eating your problems, you are exercising them instead. Now, here's the thing. If you're in the beginning of a long-term permanent weight mastery journey, do you need to be exercising from the get-go? No. I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves when they start losing weight. When we get into that, I'm going on a diet, so that means I have to exercise a lot. Not necessarily. I think sometimes it really helps to get the food in the right place and not put a ton of pressure on yourself to really start exercising unless you're in the mood to. A lot of my clients come to me and they're already exercising, but it's really about getting the food in the right place. So, what you start out doing is highly personal to you. And I'm going to get into this. I don't want you to feel like you have to be working out 5 to 6 days a week when you get started. I just wanted to let you know that the reason, you want to start to think about moving your body and exercising. And exercise doesn't even need to be like going to the gym and working out. It could be just moving and being active and getting your body, moving more than sitting on the couch, which is, sitting is the new smoking. So you want to start to re-identify yourself as an active person. And that's what we're going to get into. So here are some thin thinking mindset tips that will help you start to get back on and start exercising or get back into a routine. Now, again, I'm going to remind you that, it's not your fault that you're necessarily struggling with exercise. I think it's really important to remove any shame or negative feelings about yourself, because really, honestly, the way our mind is designed for weight loss and management, exercise, all of that, the mind is really not set up to help us out very much. In fact, it kind of works against us. Our conscious mind, we have very good intentions. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to set the alarm, I'm going to exercise tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to go get on that rowing machine, I'm going to go do something, right? And then we get that alarm goes off, and our reptilian subconscious mind is like, what the hell was that noise? I'm shutting that thing down and going back to sleep because, our mind wants things to stay just as they are. And when you're warm and cozy in bed in the morning, that reptilian brain, does it want to move and exert itself? Hell no. So, and that's a very powerful force working against you. So we really have to learn how to get our whole mind working with us in order to get moving. Now, another problem that is on our way is in our subconscious mind, we have negative identities of ourselves as couch potatoes, lazy, I'm a pig. We have these negative labels and self-identities of ourselves as a sedentary person. That really works against us. So I want you to understand that labeling yourself, I can't tell you how many people have told me that they're a lazy pig, they're lazy, they're a couch potato, there's a lot of descriptions that are not very kind that people like to label themselves. Their little inner critic inside wants to let them know, yes, you are a couch potato and you will not amount to very much because you are lazy and you're unproductive and you're a slovenly pig, right? Very kind, right? We just love that inner critic. And also, we have a belief system that's set up to look at exercise like it's hard. Exercise, exertion. I don't like to sweat. I have back pain. I have achy joints. I don't want people looking at me at the gym. I've heard that year after year after year. And I understand that because I avoided the gym because I didn't want people to see me when I was 40 pounds heavier working out. I felt very embarrassed about that. Somebody told me something once about that was so great, and I'm going to share that with you now, is that, well, at least here in California, and I think this is true of most places, that people are really into themselves at the gym. They've got their own paranoia. They have got their own issues with themselves. And, people here in California, in Los Angeles especially, let's face it, they're all super into themselves. So they might, I got over it because I was like, I looked around the gym and I was like, if these people look at me, they're probably going to spend maybe 25 seconds thinking about me. Oh, there's that big girl in the t-shirt. And then they're going to be back thinking about themselves again. Oh, don't I look great in the mirror? So I really realized that people really don't spend that much time thinking about you. I know it's hard to take that in. It's hard that people pretty much could care less about you. They're all in their own drama and their own concerns. But it's very freeing once you kind of get over that because it's like, well, they don't care about me, so I can wear whatever I want and I can do whatever I want. And I highly recommend you start to take that attitude. Like, yeah, they really don't care about you. So what are you worried about? Even if you're walking along the road, they might think about you. Oh, there's that lady in the pink sweatsuit. Wow. Okay, great. Now I'm back to my own drama and my own day. So, you're not that important in people's minds, except maybe your loved ones. So don't worry about what people think of you. What they're thinking about you is really none of your business. What you think about yourself is all your business. And you should think some better thoughts. And we're going to get into that. Okay, and then habit, sleeping in. That's a habit. Coming home and pouring a glass of wine and sitting on the couch. That's a habit. We get into these habits that are patterns that then just get parked in our subconscious mind. Our mind thinks this works just great for me. Don't rock the boat. Don't get, in my face here. Just leave me alone and let me just repeat this pattern over and over and over again, even if it's causing you to gain weight and feel unhealthy and feel like a couch potato. Okay? So let's start at identity, because our identity is at the root of all transformation. I know that a lot of people don't think about our identity so much, but you have a lot of different identities in your mind. You might be wherever you live, that's an identity. I'm a Californian, I'm a Southern Californian, I'm a Los Angelian. So those are all different identities. I even live in this area, I'm between Koreatown and in this place called Larchmont Village in Los Angeles. And so it's a beautiful little historic, because, it's one of the older areas of Los Angeles. And I bought my house the year of the earthquake and the riots, like after the LA riots in the 90s. And this area is like changed and transformed, and a lot of people come and poured a lot of love into my area. I love where I live, but so I'm also a member of this community. And I've been here a very long time, and I've really given a lot to the community. So I am, we live in this place called St. Andrew's Square. So I'm a St. Andrew's person. I'm a Larchmont person. I'm a Koreatown person. I work in the Wilshire area. I'm a Wilshire person. So I have a lot of identities that way. I'm a mom. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm a weight master. I'm a weight apprentice. I'm a wife. I'm an advocate for girls. I am, the mother of somebody going to Berkeley, like that. Those are all identities, and you probably have hundreds of identities. And if you've struggled with exercise, that's an identity, is that I don't like exercise, or I'm a couch potato, or I'm lazy. That when it comes to exercise, that is an identity. I am, I don't like to sweat. That becomes a bit of an identity in your mind. And I can totally relate, because I used to see myself as a couch potato. So one thing that we can start to do is transform our identity. And that is something that you just choose in a moment. It's not something that you have to prove to yourself. You can transform your identity just by saying so, and starting to think of yourself differently. Like if you ever got married and you said, I do, all of a sudden you're a spouse instead of a single person, right? And you're not trying not to be single. You're now adapting to this new identity of being a wife or a husband, or, or if you were a student and then you went into your profession, now all of a sudden you are a teacher, or you're a nurse, or you're a lawyer, or you're a manager, or you step into an identity and you begin to live into it. So the idea that I would have for you to start to step into is I'm moving in the direction of being an exerciser. Like you don't have to say, I am an exerciser, because your mind probably won't accept that, because your mind will say, well, that's not true. But you can say, I'm an apprentice of exercise. I'm a beginning exerciser. I'm a novice exerciser. I am a novice fitness person. I'm a new fitness advocate. You can find a title that fits for you. Play around. You're smart. But what you're doing is opening up a little door in your brain, and it's not even a door, it's a little space. Like you want to think of it as your exercise room that you're creating in your brain. And you're giving that a label, like saying, okay, I'm stepping into being an apprentice of exercise. That means like I'm starting. I don't have to be, working out 6 days a week, but I'm starting to see myself, and saying to yourself, I'm moving in the direction of this, opens up your brain too, because it doesn't freak your brain out too much. It's like moving in the direction is like, oh, I'm open to this idea. I'm getting started. It's not scary, like have to do it this second, but it starts to plant a seed in your brain, and it will grow. Okay. Now, let's talk about this belief of exercise sucks and it's hard and all of that stuff. When you have not been exercising or moving your body too much, the idea of moving your body probably isn't going to seem that pleasant. And I find a lot of times with people, we frame it to ourselves so negatively that who would want to exercise, right? Like we think of sweating, we think of like putting on the clothes, we think of waking up early and it's cold and putting the clothes on in the cold, or waking up and driving to the gym, or going out in the outside where it's cold or it's hot, or like what we focus on. You create what you focus on. So usually what I find that people focus on with exercise totally turns their brain off to the idea of exercise. So maybe you can think about like how you have been thinking about exercise and ask yourself, is the way I'm framing it to myself inviting, or is it discouraging? There are 3 parts to exercise. And, if you want to look at the 3 aspects of exercise, there's the time that you spend getting ready to go and exercise, meaning putting on some exercise clothes, maybe, getting your home gym set up, or maybe going outside or driving to a place to like a gym or a track to work out. But I think that, so that is one part, is like the getting ready part. The second part is the actual exercising itself, when you're actually physically exercising. And again, if you think about that, you might think of overexerting yourself on a treadmill or out walking, and you might think about aches and pains and the gym. So next, after we think about the pre-exercise part, a lot of times where we will focus is on the exercise part, like the actual physical movement. Now, if we haven't been moving for a while, we might have these negative fantasies of ourselves, like really being physically uncomfortable during an exercise class, or sweating profusely, or having aches and pains, or being out of breath, or having our heart beating too fast, right? So we might have negative fantasies or negative hallucinations about the actual physical part of physical exertion, so that might be, or you might have a memory of, walking the last time and maybe you had arthritis or something and it was really hurting you. And so your mind will focus on that. Or like I said, the beginning part of the exercise, like trying to get going. So the last part of the exercise scenario is usually where people aren't going to focus, which is on how awesome you feel at the end of your exercise session. How wonderful it feels to have moved your body, to have connected your mind and body. And I mean, to be honest with you, once you start moving, the actual moving part of exercise, once you get a positive memory of it going, that is going to pull you into exercise, because there is nothing like your brain and body working together in unison for a feeling of empowerment. And exercise is one of those things that instantly brings you confidence about yourself, confidence about your physicality. It's one of the things that can quickly change how you stand and how you feel. So really, but the last part of the exercise equation is really where I would have people focus on, when they want to seduce themselves into the idea of exercise. When you're laying in bed in the morning, you don't want to think about getting out of bed and getting into the cold clothes and getting out to exercise. What I focus on all the time that gets me is how awesome I am going to feel all day long because I moved my body in the morning. Or if it's at night that I'm choosing to exercise, how amazing I'm going to feel after I've removed all the stress from my day from a good workout session. So focusing on that end point changes. All we have in our life is our focus. And if we choose to focus on negative things, it's going to create a negative feeling in our body. It's going to create a negative emotion in our body. Our mind's not going to want to do it. But if we focus on the aspects of exercise that pull us forward, how good we're going to feel about ourselves, how confident we're going to feel. And I'm going to get into some ways that you can get yourself into doing this, but I just wanted you just wanted you to know that maybe part of the reason that you haven't gotten yourself going is where your focus is in the wrong place. You're focusing on negative ideas and fantasies and hallucinations versus really focusing your brain on the powerful part of exercise and the feel good part of exercise. And I always tell people, if you can exercise for 3 days, if you can just do 3 days, even if you're doing 10 minutes of exercise, your brain and body will start to, those hormones that are emitted, the neurotransmitters that are engaged, you'll start to getting addicted to exercise. And, a lot of people are, you can call them exercise nuts, exercise addicts, but because they've gotten hooked on that feel-good feeling, that feeling of, especially in the middle of exercise or after exercise. But don't focus in the wrong place, especially if you're trying to get yourself engaged and going. So, now let's talk about the habit, starting a habit of exercise. One thing I have found, and again, I have a lot of experiences with working with people because, like I said, I've been doing what I do and helping people with managing their weight for 20 years. That's a lot of people, folks. And I've seen a lot of people on the beginning of their weight release journeys. And something that a lot of people will do is when they have not been exercising, what they will do is they will say, well, I'm going to start exercising. And then they'll have really huge expectations of what they need to do in order to get going. Like, so somebody might, I will, be in a conversation with somebody and say, okay, how much are you planning to start out? And, what's your exercise goals? Well, I thought I'd start out 5 days a week, about an hour a day. And I'm like, okay. And when was the last time that you had an exercise routine going? Oh, I have not had an exercise routine for 7 years. Okay. And then that's my job to start to move their minds from this idea of something that they're not going to do. You might get an exercise routine going that is an hour a day, 5 days a week, and you might succeed at that for a week. But most people have to, their brain, if they think about, if you haven't moved for a long time, and then you think about moving an hour a day, first of all, creating that time in your schedule, but secondly, following through on that, especially after working out for an hour the first day, you're going to be sore. You're going to, there's going to be a lot of adjustments that your body is going to have to make, and your brain is going to get overwhelmed, and it's going to shut down and it's going to say no. So I think one of the main reasons that you might not have started an exercise routine is your expectations are too big of what you need to do to get started. That I see that is a very common thing. The other thing is, if you were very fit in the past, like if you were an athlete, I've worked with Olympic athletes who, were incredibly fit and had very high fitness goals and achievements. And then something happened, like they were in an accident and then they were sedentary for a while, or something happened in their lives where they got out of the routine, or, they won the gold medal or whatever. And they, they were a coach, but they hadn't been really exercising themselves too much. They just got busy with life, raising kids, doing whatever. And then they're very ashamed and they're holding themselves to the old exercise standard. And it doesn't even have to be an Olympic athlete. I'm just talking about anybody who, played football in high school or basketball, or, was fit in their 20s and they were jogging every day or running marathons, and then it stopped. And then they got out of shape. That what will happen is they'll hold themselves to that, I've got to get back to that place right now. And they allow their past fitness levels to keep them from starting an exercise regime because they're just like, it's too big, it's too overwhelming. Again, it's just too much, it's too overwhelming. They have to start from where they are, and they have to love themselves where they are. Because a lot of people, if they had an incredibly fit body at some point, and then they look down and they see themselves out of shape, there's a certain amount of resentment they hold against themselves and their body for, not being perfect. And I kind of have to say, you got to kind of forgive yourself. It is what it is. You are where you are now. Love yourself where you are and start from where you are. And the good news is, you know how to exercise, and you will be able to get going, and you will be fit. And, we go through different eras of our life. I'm in my 50s, and I have different expectations of my body than I did when I was in my 40s and in my 30s. I had zero expectations of my body in my 20s. No, I'm kidding. But, I was, struggling so much with my weight. And I remember going to exercise classes and leaving the exercise class halfway through the class. I was like, I'm just going to leave, and I'll come back later, and I'll do the full class tomorrow. I never did. I got so in the habit of leaving exercise classes early. I don't know what was up with that. But anyway, that was my struggle story. But, so don't forgive yourself for where you're at, love yourself for where you're at, and get going for where you're at. Wherever you're at is fine. And I assure you that once you start going, then you will build on that. So start with something. There's a power in doing what you say you're going to do, even if it's a little bit. I've had people so resistant to exercise. I said, all you need to do the first time is go to the gym and get on the treadmill. You don't even need to turn it on and then leave the gym. Just get into the gym and just turn on the treadmill, and that you can call exercise. Or just go to the end of the block and walk back, and we will call that exercise for the first week. You can do that every day for 5 days, And I had this hospice nurse who had diabetes, and she really needed to lose 50 pounds. And she really needed to start exercising just to help with her blood sugar levels. And she literally was so out of shape. That was what she did. She literally walked down to the end of the block and back for maybe for the first week and a half. And then she started going around the block. But what happened was she started a habit of every night after dinner, she just would go down and go to the end of the block and come back, and she called that her exercise. And that built so that by the end of the summer, she was walking a mile. And then, we live in California. She was still walking outside in the winter time. Her husband started going with her, and she released 50 pounds, but it started building. I have someone in our community now who just started 10 minutes a day. And then now she's doing an hour and 15 minutes, 5 days a week, but it started by saying, I'm just going to do 10 minutes. You do 10 minutes. You start to move your body starts to get used to it. You start to get the benefits of the feel-good hormones, and you do what you say you're going to do, and you build that confidence. So start little and build rather than starting with these big, huge expectations. The other thing that might be getting in your way is you're trying for the wrong time of the day. I hear this again too. Oh, I'm going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning because you wake up at 5 o'clock to get and fight traffic and get to work. And, sometimes I'm a really big believer in the path of least resistance, right? So it would be really awesome if we could all wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. Some people do it. I am not one of those people. But if you are, all the power to you. But it could be that you're just setting yourself up for failure because you're setting up really unrealistic expectations of when. Some people, the opposite would be true, that the afternoon they get home and they're just too tired from their day, and maybe the morning is going to be better for them. So you need to find the right time. Sometimes lunchtime works out being the best time of day. But, you can start to be creative about your time as well. Like for some clients, I'll recommend, hey, why don't you break it into 3, 3 10-minute sessions, 3, walk around the block a couple of times or jog or, do your thing in the morning for about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes at lunchtime, and 10 to 15 minutes when you get home, just to get started and get going. And then maybe you can build from there once you get going. And many people find that this, that's over a half hour of movement, and that burns calories, that gets them going, gets them, feeling that they're moving in the right direction. So start to think about the time, and maybe think, if you haven't been waking up and you said you were going to be waking up, instead of beating yourself up about it and saying, I'm lazy because I'm not waking up in the morning, say, well, maybe I need to find a different time. I will go to the gym at 10 o'clock at night sometimes. And it's because I've had a long day. I got home late. I ate dinner, at 7. I digest, and I, maybe get a little work done, or I hang out with my husband, and then I'm like, I'm off to the gym. And sometimes he'll come with me. And it's so great because it's just a way to, really work out, get the stress of the day off of me, come home, take a shower, get to bed, and I sleep really well. So, that's another myth. I think people are afraid to work out late at night because they're afraid that it will impact their sleep. It makes me sleep like a baby. I don't know about you, but so, you really got to find the right time for you, and the right time might not be a conventional time. So think about that and think that through. Here's some tools to get going. Like I said, make it easy for yourself. Think it through the night before. So, if you're used to showing up to your day and your day is not an exercise day, you're going to want to engage your mind first and practice it before you do it. When I do these podcasts, I think it through ahead of time because, just to come and sit down and start talking to you, I have to I have to prepare my mind. Before I teach a class, I have to prepare my mind. Athletes, before they go in the field, they have to prepare their mind. If you're going to be doing something new, you need to think it through. And if there's some resistance coming up, talk yourself through it. Focus on, I know it's going to be new. I know it might not feel, the most comfortable. We're stretching ourselves. It's okay. You want to have a little inner coach talk with yourself. You want to be your own best friend about this. You don't want to criticize yourself. You don't want to rebel. You want to say, hey, I'm with you. And we can do this, and we're going to feel so awesome when we're done, and I'm going to be so proud of you when you're done. Really talk yourself through it, think it through, pep yourself up, really engage. Make it easy. Think it through the night before, like I said, or think it through if you're going to come home and do it. Think it through like on your way home, get yourself prepared for it. Okay, I'm going to go home. I'm going to put my shoes on. It's going to feel so great. Have a vision of yourself, fitter and more toned, exercising. Like, have a positive vision of that you are becoming by becoming more physically active. That will help get the dopamine center in your brain engaged and working for you. Focus on the end. Like I said, keep the end in mind. Keep that feeling of what you want in mind. And here's something that I think is such a powerful tool, is have a comeback for your resistance, because you will have resistance, especially in the beginning. The good thing about your inner rebel, that part of you that kind of sabotages your health attempts, it's clever sometimes, but it's not that clever. It doesn't, it's smart, it's aggressive, it's seductive, but they come up with the same sayings all the time. Like my inner rebel, if I work a day and I haven't worked out in the morning, and I've planned to come home and work out, in the evening, I know what my inner rebel's going to say. Oh, you're too tired. Oh, you've worked out already a few times this week. You're good. You don't need to do it tonight. But not that creative. So I have a comeback. When my inner rebel says, oh, you're so tired. And then I say, yeah, and think of how awesome I'm going to feel when I get out of that spin class and I'm completely energized and mellow from all those feel-good hormones going through my brain. I'm going to feel way better than I do right now. Oh, but you exercise a lot this week. I was like, but I'm a person, I have an identity. I am a person who works out 5 to 6 days a week, and that's who I am. And I love that feeling. So, I have a comeback. So, that part of your brain that's like, oh, let's just hit the snooze alarm and keep going. It's like, no, I'm going to feel driving in my car this morning. I'm going to feel that energy going through my body because I worked out today and I won't be sleepy and groggy. I'm going to be awake and alive and not just in my head. I'm going to be in my whole dang body because I went for that walk this morning. So let's get this ass out of bed and let's get going. Okay. Set your environment up for success. What can I say? That is at the root of all successful change, right? So get those exercise clothes out, get those shoes out. So when you wake up in the morning and you see those things, you get in them or you have them ready when you get home. I come home and if I'm going to work out that night, I change out of my work clothes right into my workout clothes. Now, I might not go and work out for 2 or 3 hours, but I got them on and I know before I take them off, I'm going to have worked out. So, or if I wake up really early, like sometimes I'll wake up at, what I consider an ungodly hour to go hiking in the morning, before work. Sometimes, I have everything laid out. So it's just super easy. I can get dressed super quick and get out of the house so I can get as much sleep as I can before I wake my dog up and go. My dog's like, are you crazy? But, now he's like, okay, yep, we're going. Make it easy for yourself. Get your clothes all ready. And get yourself some fun clothes and exercise gadgets. There's nothing as sad as having like saddled exercise clothes. I mean, you're worth it. And exercise clothes are not that expensive. I think having a new pair of exercise sweats or a new exercise bra, they're really cool. Getting a gadget. I think that will be really helpful for you to feel like you're really committing to something. I invested in some new hiking shoes this year, and I'm not a person that likes to spend a lot of money on myself, but I'm telling you, investing in those things make my life better because I'm feeling good. My feet are feeling good. So get some good shoes. Get some good shoes so that you're not hurting yourself. You want to really make sure that you're setting up yourself for success. Stretch. There's some great YouTube stretch, if you just put in stretching for lower back, stretching for your legs, take care of your body too. I know now that I'm in my 50s, I'm really working not just on fitness levels, but mobility and balance and all of those things that start to get going when you get to my age. I mean, not that 50 is the new 30s, okay? But, I hear all of you 50 gals and guys, 50 is the new 30s. But when you're healthy, when you're fit, when you're feeling good, you can feel awesome in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s, in your 80s. I mean, like I'm telling you, my mother-in-law, she plays tennis every day and she's 86 years old. I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, I want to be you when I grow up. It's, but she's, taking care of herself and she's, you got to stretch, you got to, focus on your well-being. Okay. Now, what else do I have for you here? What else do I have for you here? Oh, have a mantra. Have a mantra of like I am enjoying moving my body. I am enjoying being in my body. Walking before breakfast. I love to walk before breakfast. Something that you can just repeat to yourself over and over again that starts to get into your mind. Moving is grooving. I don't know. I'm not coming up with very good ones, I have to admit right now. But I love hiking. I love biking. I love exercise. So and that's something I would have never, ever said to myself in a million years, 30 years ago. But being in my body and being able to move. And I mean, I'm very, very grateful for that. In this last year during COVID, I broke my shoulder. I was out jogging one morning because our gyms were closed, and I was like, I got to move somehow. And I bit the dust, and I slipped on the wet pavement. I was trying to move out of the way for this older woman who was on the sidewalk. So I was going into the street, and I went on a driveway, and my feet slipped out from under me. I literally, it was like a slow motion movie. I saw the pavement coming. I was like, oh, holy crap, this is going to be bad. And sure enough, I, fell flat on my face, and my shoulder was broken. And it took 3 months of physical therapy to get it back. I mean, and it's mobile now. I mean, I worked very, very hard to get mobility back really quickly. I was able to continue to hike. So I was grateful to be able to continue to move. But, you don't, when you have your body and you have it working for you, it's such a blessing. You don't even, we take our bodies for granted. So give your body love, move it, stretch it so that you have that mobility, so that it's serving you throughout your life, and you are being best friends with your body. And so I'm so grateful for my body and all. I was in this was the year of accidents. I was also in a biking accident this year. And again, you're like, Rita, well, why would I want to exercise? It sounds like you would, but no, it was a silly accident. It shouldn't have happened. But, I was fine. It worked out. But protect yourself. If you're going to go out biking, wear a helmet. I'm very careful with those things. So I even though I fell and I broke my shoulder, that was not good. But when I fell, when I was protected, so it wasn't that bad. I just had some bruising and stuff like that. So, but take care of your body. Your body is your best friend. Get a buddy, support, walk. I just interviewed somebody, Mickey Marafino, and she started this walking and talking where she wasn't near her friends. Like she wasn't close to her friends during COVID, but they would go out and separately walk, and they would have she had like a, oh my gosh, she had her phone, and they would just be on the phone with her headset, and they would be talking while they were walking as if they were walking together, which I thought was such a great idea. So don't say, well, I don't have anybody who will walk with me. Maybe you just have somebody who will talk with you while you walk, or will walk and talk with you. Or get an exercise buddy. I know I've had such great exercise partners, and it really builds our relationship to meet every week, and you kind of get into this deep state when you're walking with somebody or hiking with somebody where you talk about everything under the sun. It's such a great thing. It's kind of like therapy. So get an exercise buddy. It changes your life. You can check out Facebook groups for people in groups in your area. Be safe with that, but I know that there are areas here in California where there are walking groups and hiking groups and stuff like that. Not so much during COVID, but now that we're coming out of COVID, I think we'll see a lot more of that again too. Break it up. Like I said, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. If you want to do stuff like put your weights by your tea kettle, that's what I do. I lift weights while I'm waiting for my water to boil, just to get it in little bits. It doesn't have to be these big, huge workouts. So also you can do some exercise while you watch TV at night. You can do your stretching at that time. That's what I do. You can lift weights then, or I like to do my standing up exercises and my like sit-ups and stuff like that while I'm watching TV, because I'm not eating. If you're not eating when you're exercise, well, that's not true. Some people can do both, but you know what I'm saying, and I'm being funny. So, or dance, turn on music and just dance around your kitchen. I've done that many times too. I'll get up in the middle of a work day and, yell out a Bruce Springsteen song or a classic rock song and dance around and for 5 to 10 minutes, get my heart rate up, and then I'll get back to work. And even just doing enough of those a day, that's a workout. So you can start just moving your body. All right, that's it. And for those of you who do want that deep dive desire to exercise, check out the link. in the show notes to my exercise download 3-pack. Enter in that coupon code in the Shift store called exercise, and it will take $5 off and get moving. Have an amazing week. And remember that the key, and probably the only key to unlocking the door of the weight struggle, is inside you. So keep listening and find it. I'll see you next week. Do you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release? Head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss.